So, my vehicle died, and I just so happened to pull into the department, fire station. Now, let's go back a couple months into June. We're in about August right now. Let's go back into June. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. So we've got the stuff with my daughter, and now we also still have the marital stuff going on. And I couldn't explain it or understand it at the time. But the best way I could explain it while I was talking to my kid's mom is like, man, it feels like I could go out and save the world twice, come home, and you would find the one thing that I didn't do. And during this time, I'm trying to take care of my daughter. I'm trying to be a good husband, a good father, and nothing is good enough. She's just got this really nasty, evil venom towards me. Never cheated, never hit her, none of that stuff. Don't curse at her, don't even curse. Nothing. Like no explanation for it. And during our marriage, what I see now and saw towards that same time is like, man, you're kind of punishing me for stuff that your dad did and your dad does. And I didn't understand what I was observing with certain patterns and behaviors. But in June of that year, when my son had his birthday, their mom, my kid's mom, invited my mother and one of my sisters down. I was like, I don't think this is a good idea, especially right now. No, it'll be fine. It'll be great. Listen, this is going to be your consequence. I'm telling you, like, I don't think that's a good idea for all of them to be together right now because they didn't really have a great chemistry. Like, in certain people, you can leave them around each other for only so long before something erupts. Anyway, they actually did pretty darn good together. And the thing that set everything off, that created the firestorm, my son, he has his birthday, get up in the morning. It's my mom, my sister, and mother-in-law. My kid's mom, her mom, the grandmother. And they wish happy birthday to my son, Josiah. He still doesn't even know what happy birthday is at this point. That's his first 1-year birthday. And my kid's mom just flips a switch going off. That's my son. You don't sing happy birthday to my son. But she's only directing it towards my mom and my sister. Like, your mama said it too. And she snapped and flipped into this person that no one had ever seen before. That's what her parents were saying. But I remember just a couple weeks prior, I saw her sitting in the living room, staring out the window, pale and catatonic. Now, I thought she was in deep thought. I'm just thinking this to myself, but even her mother had mentioned it to me at one point. She's like, yeah, she looks like a ghost. Like literally pale, like blood had drained from her pale and just catatonic. So maybe she's just resting. Now I understand about being able to dissociate from your surroundings. And that's what I believe had happened. And then we saw this new personality come in, which really mimicked and mirrored her sister, who had already admitted to multiple mental illnesses and health concerns. And when I say mental illness, it's not to be a stigma. Like, you can be unhealthy physically when it comes to exercise in the same way you could be unhealthy mentally. This is not a stamp of forever or lack of worth. It's just saying, hey, something's off and you need a checkup. But during this time, kid's mom switches and turns into this other person, and she's flipping off or flipping out just because they wished my son happy birthday. It's like, okay, so there's the stuff going in the background while I'm fighting with my daughter, trying to fight for her life and advocate against certain ignorant and arrogant physicians and medical professionals. My daughter had what's known as a petit mal seizure in the hospital due to medication. We believe Zofran. That was the only thing that she was on. I coordinate with my father and the team, and one of the ignorant nurses comes in and goes, oh, she looks fine to me. Baby girl. I didn't say baby girl, but baby girl, this is my child. I know her. This is what just happened. Get me the doctor. I'm not asking for your opinion. Like, I was here. She had some type of attitude. It's like, get me the doctor. Doctor finally comes and they acknowledge that, yeah, like that's a concern. It's important. My daughter was sleeping in my arms and she had rapid eye movement. I believe it was left to right and not up and down. Rapid eye movement, more than once. We got that addressed. So fighting for my daughter, advocating for her, and dealing with marital stuff and oblivious to how much weight I'm carrying and not really taking care of my own self. But I'm doing the best I can. We're in August again. Van breaks down. And now I'm at 0, 0, 0 in the bank. My kid's mom has a vehicle that she isn't even using, won't sell it, an old BMW. And I had to do what I had to do. Say, hey, I got to do a GoFundMe. I don't like that. I don't want to do those. I never thought I'd have to, but I did. But there was a blessing in it. There was some joy in it when I saw the outpouring of love from people that I've known even through high school and hadn't even talked to in a while. Everybody gave, and they gave so quickly that the goal of $8,000 I had set was met within 2 days. Like, whoa, wow. A couple people kept giving past that, which I'm glad they did because, what was that? I think I wanted 6,000. No, my goal was 6,000 and people gave to 8,000, which I'm glad they did because I was horribly undervalued at that time. That's when the used car prices were just skyrocketing. So I asked for 6,000, people gave 8, and I was able to get a vehicle for my kids to get them to and from where they need to go, especially chemo appointments for my daughter. But I'm doing GoFundMe. I'm doing my due diligence of going to places and checking out cars. And I remember their mom said, well, what about me? I'm like, what do you mean, what about you? Like, we're on the same team here for Aviana, for our daughter. Like, what do you mean, what about you? But those were the signs and the signals of what was to come. One thing you got to understand about her is she grew up in a very, very abusive and traumatic childhood. This isn't just my opinion. This is both of the children stating this, as well as their mother and me being around them for over 10 years. Grew up in communism. All they knew was the survival mode of not necessarily doing what's right or what's best, but doing what they felt they needed to do to survive. That bred a whole lot of secrecy, a whole lot of physical abuse, verbal, mental, emotional abuse, manipulation. Dare even say gaslighting. And hindsight's 2020, as well as some resources I found to help me understand later on in life what I was going through and observing. But I've got this GoFundMe going, get a vehicle for my daughter. Things are still like this, marital, and it's the cycle that I've heard other couples speak about. It's like when this person wants to give up, this one is like, no, let's keep fighting for it. And then when this person wants to give up, this person's like, no, let's keep fighting for it. But I got to the point where I'm like, I'm sick of this. I didn't say I wanted to give up. I'm just saying I'm sick of trying to be pleasing, like trying to please you and trying to take care of everything on the list and still get treated like crap. And I remember when we were discharged, there was one point, I regret it, but I'm healthier now. There's one point where I was just tired of it. We're at home at our apartment. I was going to the bedroom, I lay down, and I let out like one cry. When I say one cry, it was like, that was it. Just trying to keep everything together. Because I'm thinking and I'm saying like, Lord, I'm so sick of having to be the strong one. I'm like, why do I have to be the strong one? Why? And I let one out, brought it back in, and there was no concern, no compassion. I'm not sure if their mom heard it or knew it or not, but you could definitely tell I was at a point of, I'm sick of this. Like, why are you being so nasty to me? I haven't done anything to you to justify that. I understand now, missed all the signs, but that was a good breaking point for me. Because I look back like, man, I hadn't cried in years, and I wish I would have let that happen to get some type of relief and healing. Anyway, We continue on. We got the vehicle. This is the end of 2020, and we're starting to go into 2021. 2021, we get that, what was that? The stimulus. And I'm thinking in my head, I think it's a Holy Spirit thought, because prior to COVID, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get some type of position to where it's recession proof or whatever proof, because I had a sense and a feeling something big was going to happen. I just didn't know what. I think people were even talking about it, and I could just sense it. It's like back in 2017, 2019, I'm like, okay, so that's government, law enforcement, food industry, hospitality, and medical. It's like, well, I hate medical at that time. I hate medical, kind of grew up in it. I saw my father, and I saw how it kept a demand for his time. I was like, yeah, I don't want to deal with medical. Food service, you got to work way too hard and make too little bit. You know what? I might go into private security. I'd already been trained in martial arts throughout the years and enjoyed firearms and tactics. Okay. So I took that stimulus check, turned it into a private security license, a D license, got a job with a D license, took that money working the D license, turned that into a G license, and then I became an armed lead officer of a high-risk Section 8 community complex. I think I'm going to pause the story there and then come back.